Everyone to class. We welcome you to this session. In this session, we're going to discuss group dynamics. Group dynamics. What we are pursuing here is to get a clear definition of the term group dynamics, look at the stages of group development, then the types of group and group structure. Then you should be able to enumerate the factors affecting group dynamics and then identify the ways of fostering participation in groups. So when we finish this particular session, and then you do your own personal reading and evaluation, you will need to use these particular points to assess yourself. That's okay. So move to the next slide. Here we want to define group dynamics. But then before we talk about group dynamics, it's good that we look at the concept of group. A group can be defined as several individuals who come together to accomplish a particular task. So that is how we define a group. And then when we now talk about group dynamics, we are looking at an interaction of complex intra and interpersonal forces operating in a group, which determines its character, development, and long-term survival. So what this slide is actually saying in effect is that group dynamics determines the character of the group, determines how the group develops, and then subsequently also it determines the survival of the group. I hope this is very clear. We are saying that group dynamics refers to the attitudinal and behavioral characteristics of a group. It is concerned with how groups are formed, their structure, and processes. As a social process, group dynamics looks at this process by which people interact and behave in a group environment. It can also be said to involve the influence of personality, power, and behavior on the group process. Then, as a relationship among individuals, group dynamics looks at relationship between individuals conducive to achieving the group goals. In the structure and size of the group, we want to confirm if that's an asset that can be used to build up the group. So these are the nitty-gritty of the group dynamics. Let's look at the theories of group dynamics. In this class, we'll be taking just 3 theories. The first theory is the classic theory. In this theory, what the proponents of the theory persisted is that group develop based on activities, interactions, and sentiments. So it is activities, interactions, and sentiments that give rise to group. The theory indicates that when individuals share common activities, they will have more interaction and will develop attitude towards each other. Then we have the social exchange theory. What the social exchange theory borders on is that it stipulates that individuals form relationships based on the implicit expectations of mutual beneficial exchanges, based on trust and then felt obligations. Thus, a perception that exchange relationship will be positive is essential for groups if individuals are to be attracted and affiliated with the group. So here now, we are trying to say that people will only join groups if they are very sure that there will be exchange of relationships, exchange of privileges and responsibilities. Then there is the social identity theory. It's to simply put this theory suggests that individuals get a sense of identity and self-esteem based on their membership in salient groups. The group may be demographically based, or culturally, or even organizationally based, but individuals are motivated to belong to and contribute to the group identity because of the sense of belongingness and self-worth of membership. So here we have tried to do a good understanding of the theories of group dynamics. Let's move on now to stages of group development. There are five major stages here: the forming, the storming, the norming, the performing, and the adjourning. So we start with the storming, or rather, we start with the forming, please, because that's the first stage. At the forming stage of group development, the members familiarize themselves with the task and with other members of the group. Now, this is the dependent stage, as members tend to depend on outside expertise for guidance, job identification, and task analysis. Remember, as a class, as a set, when you came into school, you didn't know yourselves to a great extent. People came from diverse backgrounds. And then what the forming stage is now trying to postulate is that it is that stage where you depend on each other. You ask her, have you paid your fees? Where did you pay your fees? You make inquiries, trying to show a level of dependence. After this stage now, you move to the next stage, which is the storming stage. At this stage, the storming stage, the group encounters conflict, as members confront and criticize each other. You won't be surprised to see those persons who are trying to help themselves at the forming stage come to this stage now trying to drag position. Everybody wants to be the course rep. Everybody wants to be the one that the lecturer will see. People want to occupy positions. So issues arising at this stage include identification of roles and responsibilities. People want to be OO1. People want to be in charge. So in a bid to identify roles and responsibilities, storms build up. Then operational rules and procedures, how should things be done? Everybody wants to be heard as to how things should be done. So individuals also storm. And then the individual need for the recognition. People want to be seen. Nobody wants to be taken to the background. So that's what happens at the storming stage. This stage is also referred to as the counter-dependent stage, where members flex muscles in search for identity. Oftentimes, groups may have problems getting through this stage as a result of encounter difficulties in clarifying their task, agreeing on their mission or mandate, or deciding how they will proceed. Lack of skill, ability, or aptitude can also contribute to the inability to get beyond this stage. Now, the norming stage. At the norming stage, the members start to resolve the issues that are creating the conflict and begin to develop their social agreements. Now, we have had a cost rep, we've had a representative now, so we've known who is the who. So we just need to fix ourselves. So that's the norming stage. The members begin to recognize their interdependence, develop cohesion, and agree on the group norms that will help them to function effectively in the future. The performance stage is the next stage. Having returned to agreement, you see the group trying to execute various responsibilities for which they are known. So this occurs when the group have sorted out its social structure and understands its goals and individual roles. It will move forward now. At this point now, the group will start accomplishing its task. That is mutual assistance and creativity, as a prominent theme at this stage. The group, sensing its growth and maturity, becomes independent, relying on its own resources. Then the last stage is the adjourning stage. Like they say, 20 children cannot play together for 20 years. So you need to agree and know that at some point, individuals may need to move. So groups will usually adjourn. During this stage, the group resort to some form of closure. Not all groups experience this stage, of course. Yeah. There are other groups that may not disband. But most times we see groups adjourning after group purpose must have been fulfilled, after the reason for setting up the groups must have been achieved, then groups will automatically fold up. I hope you've been able to understand every issue relating to stages of group development. We now want to look at types of groups. Groups may be formal groups or maybe informal groups. Formal groups are structured to pursue a specific task. They are established by an organization to achieve organizational goals. Formal groups may take the form of command groups, task groups, and functional groups. Command groups consist of supervisors and the subordinates. Task groups consist of people who work together to achieve a common task within a specified period of time. Examples of task groups are things like ad hoc committees, um, standing committees, project groups. These are examples of formal groups. They are officially set up for set purposes. Functional groups are created by the organization to accomplish specific goals within unspecified time frame. Let's look at informal groups now. When we look at informal groups, we are talking about groups that exist. They are there, but they are not formal. These groups are formed naturally and in response to the common interests and shared values of individuals. They are established for the accomplishment of organizational goals and do not have specified time frame. Examples of informal groups will include interest groups, friendship groups, and then reference groups. Even your reading groups, you have a reading group, that's also an informal group. Let's now move up as we discuss another important aspect of our group dynamics. We want to look at the idea of group structure, this idea, group structure. The things that make up the idea group structure are many, but for this class, we're going to just take up the four that we've highlighted there. And those four will include group size, group roles, group norms, and group cohesiveness. Group size, group roles, group norms, and group cohesiveness. Let's take off as we look at the idea of group size. But then, before we go to group size, group structure is a pattern of relationship among members that hold the group together and help it to fulfill assigned goals. Group structure can be described in a variety of ways, such as group size, roles, norms, cohesiveness. Okay, group size. Group size here may vary from two people to a very large number of people. Remember, we say that the minimum number to form a group is two. So where two persons are gathered, we have a group. Small groups are between 2 to 10 people. Take note of that. 2 to 10 people, small groups. It has an advantage of quick decision and are more effective. While large groups may waste time by deciding on processes and trying to decide who should participate next, we also have the advantage on numbers of people to interact with. It will be difficult to arrive at a conclusion in large groups, but then you have the advantage of multitude of counsel where there is always wisdom, especially when you have a responsible multitude. It's difficult for members of a large group to identify with one another and experience cohesion. Let's look at group roles. In formal groups, roles are usually assigned to members. Group roles can be classified into three major aspects: the work role, the maintenance role, and the blocking roles. The work roles are task-oriented activities that involve accomplishing the group goals. They involve a variety of specific roles such as initiator, informer, clarifies, and then summarizes the events of the group. So that is for work roles. Now, maintenance roles are social emotional activities that help members maintain their involvement in the group and raise their personal commitment to the group. The maintenance roles are harmonizer, gatekeeper, consensus testers, encourager, and compromiser. Now, harmonizers try to reduce tension in the group and reconcile differences and explore opportunities. For gatekeepers, what they do is that they keep communication channels open and make suggestions that encourage participation. For the consensus testers, the attacks will be more evident if the group is hearing a decision and tests possible conclusions. For the encouragers are, how do we define them now? They're majorly friendly, warm, and responsive um, to the other group members, while the compromisers modify decisions and then offers compromises and admit errors. Then the blocking rules. Blocking rules are activities that disrupt the group. They may take the form of dominating discussions. Now, these blocking rules may involve tackling other members of the group or distracting the group with trivial informations or unnecessary humor. Group norms. Norms are acceptable standards of behavior. We are taking rules, right? Yeah, this is where we are now. We are talking about norms. Norms are acceptable standards of behavior within a group that are silenced by members of the group. Norms define the boundaries of acceptable and unacceptable behavior. They are created in order to facilitate group survival, make behavior more predictable, avoid embarrassing situations, and express the value of the group. Groups exert pressure on members to force them to conform to the group standard. So let's now finally look at cohesiveness. Cohesiveness refers to the bonding of the group members and their desire to remain part of the group. Groups tend to be more cohesive when they are in intense competition with other groups or face a serious external threat to their survival. Smaller groups and those that spend time together also tend to be more cohesive. The advantages of cohesiveness for a group will include worker satisfaction, low turnover and absenteeism, and then higher productivity. However, highly cohesive groups may be detrimental to organizational performance if their goals are misaligned with organizational goals. For instance, if a group is highly cohesive and they want to rebel against the manager or against the leader, they can easily get the result they want. So that's where it poses a problem to organizations. So that's where we will be ending this particular session